Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Q&A show. My name is Bob Theriot, and I'll be your host for tonight's show. And I'm super excited to bring on my next guest. He's someone a little bit different than what you've seen in my past shows. And so I like it to keep it eclectic, and I like to deliver value to you guys. So I'm really excited to bring him on. But before we get started, if you could do me a favor, if you can go ahead and hashtag live. If you're watching the show live, hashtag live. That helps us reach more people. And if you happen to catch the show later on down the road and preview, if you can hashtag replay, and that lets us know that you're watching it later on down the road. It tells the algorithms that we're up, and it helps us out. So, and we'd also like you to smash that heart button and hit that share link. The more people we can reach with our message, the more people we can help. So we'll be taking your questions today if time allows. But please feel free to leave comments in the comment section there. If we see them, we'll answer them. Be patient with us, but we'll try to get to you. But you guys, my next guest, let me just say a little bit before I bring him on. Let me just talk a little bit about him. Okay, he is a lifestyle business coach and the author of the book Unboxed, an unfiltered guide to creating a career on your terms. He's also the host of Building a Lifestyle Business podcast, which I've heard, which is really awesome. He is an NFL veteran, a speaker, a frequent media contributor on topics related to entrepreneurship and the future of work. Fox News, USA Today, The Wall Street Journal, Inc.com, Yahoo, Business Insider, HR.com, and too many to mention have all featured him on his insights. So please help me welcome Mr. Nick Murphy to the program, everybody. And let me bring him up here. Hey, Nick, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having
me. Good. Thanks for joining us here on the Q&A show. We're super excited to have you here.
I appreciate you being here. I'll try to be eclectic for you.
I looked that word up today. I didn't know what it meant. Just like 5 minutes.
I can't spell it. I know what it means, but I can't spell it.
So, Nick, for my audience, you're brand new. I know you have a diverse background, played in the NFL. You're now a lifestyle business coach. If you could just tell my audience a little bit about you, your background, and how you got into this business lifestyle coaching.
I think like so many people, I fell into it. You know, it's a cliche, but after I got done playing football, I was 26. I had a bachelor's degree. I didn't have an internship, didn't have any kind of traditional employment background in any way, shape, or form. So I went out and tried to get jobs, and I do well when I got in front of people. I do well when I interviewed, but my background was different. And so you get auto rejected a lot. You talk to recruiters and they'd be like, yeah, you don't have any of the prereqs really. In terms of getting into the interview. So I decided to co-found a video resume company with the idea of helping people create kind of a 30 to 60 second elevator pitch, if you will, to supplement that text resume and really get an invite into the game and have a chance to go in and say, listen, I know I'm lacking in these areas, but here's what I do have, and here's some intangibles, and here's kind of a better story and a better picture of why I think I'm a good fit for this. And so I did that for a while, and that was kind of my foray into the talent acquisition recruiting world. Went to Career Builder, worked there for a couple of years, then on to Monster, and then on to Indeed. So I learned a ton about the world of work and how broken it is. And really from my own job seeker experience and also dealing with so many other people, really came to the notion that, listen, this isn't for everybody. We're playing a game we can't win. And 21st century technology affords us opportunities to live life our terms and make money the way that we see fit, doing things that we care about. And so that's what I'm passionate about. With 5 kids across 2 states, and my wife's an entrepreneur. Man, you know, sitting in an office anywhere for any amount of money in one city just isn't conducive to what I care about or really my life and being here for my family like I want to be. So it's a lot of kind of my story, my journey. But I know there's a lot of people out there that are unfulfilled at work, that are doing what they're doing because they don't think there's another path. And so my mission is to help people and show them through examples, both in my podcast and in my life, that listen, there's another path you can take. You just have to learn how to do it. You need a little encouragement, a little help. And so that's what I do.
So when you were playing in the NFL, were you already thinking about what you were going to do and what transition or what that looked like?
No, I mean, I think you when you're in that business, you know it's not for long. That's kind of the joke, because that's what the NFL stands for. It's not for long. Average career is 3.5 years. I played 3.5 years. So I was out at 26, but at least as a punter, and I was a punter. So bring on your kicker jokes, I can take it. But at least as a punter, there's only one, so there's no backups. They don't sign you to a practice squad. Outside of Canada, there's nowhere else in the world that you can play. And so you could be the 33rd best in the world and not have a job. And so, you're a really talented bartender or substitute teacher or, valet driver. So in terms of like, was I planning this thing or did I have an idea? I knew it would end, but I was really busy and trying to hang on and trying to get that job because you're a starter or you're unemployed. And there's 32 jobs in the world and 1,500 guys on any day in the NFL total. So no, I hadn't really. I knew I'd figure something out. I knew there'd be a next chapter that would be a lot longer than my football chapter, but I didn't spend a ton of time when I was playing worrying about what that would be.
And so right now you're the lifestyle business coach. Can you explain a little bit more about what that is and what that looks like? Is it people are coming to you and they're trying to make a transition and they're looking for help?
Yeah, or they're following a bunch of people online. They're hearing Gary Vaynerchuk and they're hearing other people and they're saying, hustle and grind and entrepreneurship's where it's at. And, the corporate world sucks. I agree with a good chunk of that. The part I don't necessarily agree with is the hustle and grind mentality that's killing people. They're working hard. They're, put your head down until you're 30 and figure it out. It might work if you're 22 and you're starting. It doesn't work when you're 37, 38, 39 starting. And so for me, it's really about building a business that fits into your life, that allows you to create the impact you want, doing what you want to do, but it's designed from the onset to fit into your life so that it's not, if you want to take a company public in Silicon Valley and sell it for $100 million, I'm probably not your guy. That used to be my goal. That used to be a dream of mine. And now that I have a family, it's just, I'd rather impact and help people create lives that they love so that they can be present at home. And so their health, their relationships, their fitness, their mental kind of fortitude doesn't suffer as a result of their occupation. Like all those things actually get stronger because of the business they create. And so that's what a lifestyle business coach is, in my opinion.
And so do you, I'm sure you're kind of picky of who you work with. I'm sure you don't just work with anyone because this is going to take some work. Right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So how do you vet people? How do you talk to them? How do you get to know that they're going to be the right fit for you or vice versa?
Yeah. I mean, I at this point, I don't do one-to-one coaching. So I don't really have to worry about, is this particular person right in the right spot? So whether it's my book or whether it's my podcast, I'm sure we'll talk about those things. That's kind of, that's the free platform. That's my worldview on here's what matters. Here are steps to take. Here are things that can help you, actions that you should pursue. But in terms of like, it's not a one size fits all for entrepreneurs at any level. But it's not something where you have to have checked all these boxes to have the opportunity to join one of my programs or learn from me. And you don't even have to raise your hand. I mean, that's the beauty of podcasts. I'm sure there's people out there that listen to me every week whose name's not on my email list, who I have no idea are there. And so it's kind of fun. You try to create content that inspires those people to take that action so that they do join a list, they do enroll in a course, they do take that step and that action that will allow them to create that business that they think they want or they're trying to sort through. But that's part of the process. I mean, nobody wakes up one day and says, I'm ready, this is it. Right. It's a process.
And so I'm sure you get feedback. What are the biggest challenges you see people facing today? Is it because they're stuck in a job and they don't want to take that leap for their dream career? Do you kind of narrow it down? Do you have a system? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a framework. It's funny. It's a good question because the things you hear aren't really the real excuses. I have a sales background, right? So the first objection is not the real objection. Kind of the same thing. Well, I don't have time, or I don't have enough money, or I'm not tech savvy enough, or I don't know how I would do this, or I don't know what business I would do. At the end of the day, I don't directly tell them this. I kind of give them things that hopefully draw this out on their own. But at the end of the day, like we are in roles that we're in, or we're choosing to stay in the status quo because we think it keeps us safe, because of fear, because of subconscious assumptions of sunk cost fallacies. And, I've already gone down this path. I'm a lawyer. I can't possibly quit now and start a t-shirt company online. Yeah, you can. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you should, but you can. You absolutely can. You can have it all. And so there's what they say, and then there's a reality. And so I have fun just on the mental side of it, playing games, not playing games, but giving them questions and kind of a little tough love and challenging these assumptions. Well, what do you mean you don't have enough money? How much money do you think it takes? You don't have enough time? Well, we all have the same 24 hours. And I like to do that kind of stuff because people eventually will go, all right, well, I'm choosing to stay in this world and not pursue that. Cool, that's your right. But don't say it's because you don't have time. It's because you're making a choice.
And I agree with you, but don't you think so? Basically, what I'm hearing is it's all a mindset, right? The
Huge chunk of
mindset,
it.
it's just not there. And I
Yeah.
think people, entrepreneurs, whether you're going to start a business, whether you're going to make a career change, whether you have goals set for you personally, business, it's all a mindset. It's how you pre-frame your mind, how you are really going to change that. And I think people have a hard time with that because 90% of all of our thoughts are subconscious.
Yeah.
So if you can't work on that, you're going to have a hard time with that. And I'm sure you've heard that, or you've seen it for yourself. How do you deal with mindset? I mean, I'm sure that's a big chunk of it.
It is. It's a huge chunk of it. I think it's not anybody's fault. Nobody wakes up and says, I'd really like to be mentally weak today, and I'm just going to go through life thinking I'm that way and not address it. The thing with limitations is that they don't present themselves as limitations. They present themselves as like just the way it is. So when you're looking at an obstacle, you're looking at the way you believe something to be. Your beliefs aren't real. Your beliefs are ideas, and they can be challenged. And so I play on that a lot. But at the same time, we weren't taught how to be entrepreneurs. Nobody was taught how to start a business in school. We were taught to, I'm almost 40. Like, you go to school, you get a job, you work your way up, and that's success. White picket fence, 2.5 kids. And that's what people were conditioned and taught to do. Literally, like, we educated a whole population of people to do that. And now that there's other opportunities, and now that people are like, well, wait, do I have to do it that way? No one drew out a roadmap. Nobody gave you a blueprint. There's not a high school class called How to Start a Business on Instagram. So this is we're in this cool time to be alive and see these things come to fruition. And that's, I think, why I get so fired up about it. It's constantly evolving. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's business is different. And the opportunities are literally freaking endless.
Yeah. And it's all new. I mean,
Yep.
the internet's been around. So a little bit over 20 years.
Yeah.
Social media has changed the landscape in the last 7-8 years. So it's really still in its infancy. I own a digital marketing agency, and I hear people asking me, is it too late? Is it too late for me to start a YouTube channel? Is it too late for me to start a podcast? Is it too late? The answer is no.
Right.
It's never too late to live out your dream and to actually put this stuff into action. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's people out there like yourself that can really show people how to hack a system, or you're not going to be able to take shortcuts, but you can shorten the learning curve, wouldn't you say?
For sure. I mean, it'd be silly to try to reinvent the wheel and do it yourself. I think that's podcasts are one of those hidden gems where I think there's still 75% of Americans that have never listened to a podcast, which is amazing to me, given the knowledge of the free content that's out there in micro little bursts. You power podcast listeners now, 1.5, 2x on audio, and you can get through a 40-minute podcast in 20 minutes on your drive to the gym, and then another 3 while you're working out. So it's not a knowledge gap. It's a mindset gap. It's a fear. A lot of it's internal, but then there's the process too. So there's theory and there's application. And I think really good content and the people that really blow up in this space are good at theory and challenging limiting beliefs, and then also getting people to inspiring, empowering people to take action. But then you've got to give them a process so they get a quick win. And once they have that momentum and they feel a little wind at their sails, that's when all the magic happens. But it's a journey to get there. And that's one of the things I focus on when I create my content, my podcast, my book, my courses. Everything I do is like, how do I get a quick win for this person in this spot?
So we brought up the podcast. Can you tell everybody a little bit about the name of your podcast? I have it here. I mean, I've been listening to it. It's awesome. Can you tell them a little bit about your podcast and how you interview a lot of people that are making a transition or they're trying to better their careers, right?
Yeah, no. So I just wrapped up season 1's finale. Actually came out today, and it's a doozy. If you want to check it out, it's called Building a Lifestyle Business, and it's available iTunes, everywhere you listen to podcasts. But season 1 was all about that. It was about showing people through examples and stories from other people what the background was, and the structure of the show was really simple. In season 1, it was, what'd you think you were going to do when you came out of school and had this career vision? What wasn't working in that? What did you go do? Highest high, lowest low. And if you were starting over tomorrow, what would you do different? And I've got everything from people that are real estate investors to, I actually interviewed someone who's a former dominatrix was the guest today. I'm like, what the hell? So really, I mean, it doesn't even matter what the background is. People go out and they create literally these businesses out of thin air. I had a guest that went from food stamps to six figures in 18 months.
How many episodes were in season 1?
Don't quote me on this. It's 12 to 13. I mean, it's totally bingeable. And they're about 35, 40 minutes long.
Are you going to start season 2 right away? You can take a little bit of a break?
No, season 2 is in planning stages. It'll come out this fall, and season 2 is 100% about mindset, the imposter syndrome, the fear, how we get in our own way, what makes us worthy, what if we fail, all those things. So we're gonna tackle that, and I'm going after some pretty big guests. I'm hoping season 2 is. I know it's gonna be bigger and better. It might be epically cool. Super valuable though. Either way,
it is a lot of value. I love listening to it. Very cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Can you talk a little bit about your book? It's called what? Unbox: A Filtered Guide to Creating a Career on Your Terms.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the entry point. If you want to have an idea of how I view work from my experience, both kind of historically in the context of Western civilization and everything, we go back from Industrial Revolution into kind of this modern economy. And then the second half of the book is unpacking what I think, basically the 3 steps are to changing the leverage, right? Like right now, your company, if you have a job, holds all these marbles and you're like down here hoping you keep your job. And the book is about how to shift that paradigm and really take that control and that security back. We diversify in everything else. We don't diversify in our job. Like keeping a job, having a real job is a safe play. Well, BS. It is until the day it's not, right? And by then it's too late. So the second half of the book goes through a 3-step guide to actually creating that. And the short version is putting your corporate career to work for you. So things like paying down your debt, living below your means, making decisions, not necessarily for like climbing the ladder, but for what skills you need to learn, for who you can network with, for what projects you can work on. The second part is diversify by creating some kind of side hustle or side business. And then the third is whether you keep your corporate if you love your corporate job and it's fulfilling to you, awesome. Just have some security there and know that if your job went away tomorrow, that you've created an income outside of corporate that will pay your bills and keep you fed and sleeping indoors.
Yeah. So you literally walk them through how, and you're not one of these people that say like, quit your job and just take that leap of faith. You like have actionable steps and you kind of teach them how to plan for that transition, right?
I do, because I didn't do it. I walked away from 185
you did it
cold turkey with 5 kids to feed and said, I'm going to figure this out. And I did, but damn, was that stressful and hard. And I don't recommend people do that. It can work. I'm proof that it can work, but no, I go back and I say, all right, had I had a different perspective back when I was young and dumb, this is what I would have done. I would have done this when I got my bonus check. I wouldn't have gone and bought the new car or taken the $5,000 trip. I would have paid off my credit card debt or my student loan. I would have lowered my monthly nut, if you will, so that if I started a side business, maybe I only need $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 net to replace my corporate income. And I have a very low cost of living. So it gives me a longer runway when you're moving from corporate world into entrepreneurship, if you do it strategically and correctly. So that's what the book was really trying to map out. You don't have to jump off, and you can pick up the book at any phase. Like you could have a side hustle, or you could just still be in corporate, or even, it works for people who want to stay in corporate and want a total reframe on how they make their decisions and what success actually looks like. So like I said, I challenge a lot of stuff. I enjoy doing it. The book's another kind of challenging your perception on what's real and what's possible.
Yeah, I like your approach to it, because you see all these gurus, like you say, and they get up there, they pontificate, and they tell people, go for your dreams, life is short, jump. And that's not really the smartest thing to do. And you're right about that.
Yeah. Well, the reality is, you've done this. You don't see a lot of the answers until you've started. So there's some very sage advice in get started. But you don't have to jump off of a cliff to get started. You just need to put one foot in front of the other and start something and understand where you're going and have a guide and a process and a framework that will help you. I mean, you can't guarantee anybody's successful, but you can significantly put the odds in your favor if you do it the right way with the right people, as opposed to just, I'm done, tell your boss to screw off and try to figure it out. It can be done, but it's really hard.
Yeah. I see another reason, because we're talking about people who make that leap, who make that jump, who make that real quick decision. But then there's those other people that never do that because they fear perfection, right? And so that whole, I want to get everything perfect and everything just right before I actually take the leap or make a change in life.
Yeah.
And that's the other end of the spectrum, where if you do that, you'll stay always in the same spot.
Yeah. Perfection is the enemy of progress. So you're never going to find it. I mean, it's like sitting in your garage. This is a part of the book. It's like sitting in your garage, waiting to take a road trip and waiting until every light on your entire path is green.
Yeah. It's never going to happen.
Never going to happen. So you're going to sit in your garage forever, wanting to go, really motivated, like listening to Tony Robbins and like getting fired up. And you never put the damn car in drive and you don't go anywhere.
Yeah. And I see it happen all the time. You see it in corporate world too. Things move
100%.
very slow sometimes.
Yep.
Very slow. So what plans, or what I wanted to ask you is, what do you find that stops most people from doing what they really want? We mentioned kind of like excuses. We kind of touched on it, but just from the people that you've come in contact recently, what is it? Is it money, or is it fear, or is it a combination of both, or is it they just don't know what they want to do?
I think it's a combination of a lot of that. It really, I net it out to they're uncertain about the outcome. They don't see a path. So they can want something, they can see the vision, but if you don't have the path in the middle that you're confident in, if you don't have like where to, if you're gonna take that first step, all right, cool, but like tell me where to put my foot. It's like if you're climbing up if you're climbing Everest, you're getting to the summit and you're not putting your feet in the right spot, you might die. And so I think it's a lot of that. So there aren't enough people. There's a lot of people banging the drum about, hey, get started, live your dreams, chase your passion, blah, blah, blah. That's not bad. Like I'm here for all that. But the people that I think are doing the best service and that folks should want to work with if they really want to get there are the ones that are really doing the hard work of not just talking about something in theory, but parsing that out and giving somebody a process and a plan to actually get that quick win and move towards it. So it's inspiration, it's empowerment, it's decision, but a lot of it's around action. But it's not just any action. It's not just working hard. It's working on the right things in the right order. With the destination in mind, knowing, and then my whole thing is what lifestyle you want to live. What else is important to you? Can you work 12 hours a day for 5 years to get there? Or do you need to find something where you can work 4 hours a day and still get there? So there's a lot to it, and nobody's exactly the same. So it's a hell of a lot of fun, but there is a process and a framework that anybody can follow to really get there.
So what is working with you look like? I mean, can you give us just a general overview? I don't want you to get too detailed, but what does it look like? How do you onboard someone? What do you do first? You ask a lot of questions. Are you going to meet once a week, twice bi-weekly? How does it look? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's basically the podcast and the book are kind of like the entry points for the free content. I'm launching a membership site here in about 3 weeks for early stage digital business owners and it's called Digital Business Accelerator. That's what it's for. It's to accelerate the growth of that digital business by doing the things in the right order at the right time, focusing on the right activities, and then having a community and support of people who are doing the same thing to kind of keep you going. Because especially if you're a digital entrepreneur or a solopreneur in any capacity, sitting in front of your laptop all day gets really lonely. And so it's important to have a community of people to pull you along, but it's equally important to have a process, to have just-in-time content, and to not just be learning all the time, but actually have that action step and be held accountable. So that's what the membership site is going to do. Founders Launch here kicks off here in early September. And if you haven't started yet, there's a course that will be available shortly after that to get you started called Idea to Open for Business in 60 days. And it will take that person who's like, I think I want to go. I think I'm ready, but I don't know what to do. This is that. It's 2 months to open the doors and be collecting payments and actually validate the idea you have first, make sure it's the right one. If not, I've got a process to help you create the right one and then actually finish it all the way through. Tax ID, bank accounts, like open for business, taking money. It's all good.
Make sure that you get me that information, Nick, so we can put that in show notes in the Q&A media page. So for those of you who don't know, we archive all of the interviews and it's TheQ&AShow.com. And we'll be happy to put that in there for you.
Yeah, the best thing to do, I mean, I've got a daily dose email. So if you like the inspiration stuff, if you like somebody to kind of challenge you, if you've taken any notes or had an aha about anything I've said, text Never Settle to 44222. It's all one word. So you have to mess with the autocorrect. It's kind of annoying. You should probably find a
what is it? One more time?
Never Settle, all one word, to 44222. So just text that. You'll get a text back asking you for your email address. That'll pop you into a daily email. You get about 4 months worth of little daily weekday bite-sized kind of inspiration, challenging questions and little exercises. So
That's pretty cool.
Feedback's awesome on it. I have a lot of fun with it. I probably need to put my head down and write a couple more months of it, but 4 months of daily, I burnt myself out. I'm like, all right, I'm all tapped out. I need a break. So I took a couple months break. I need to go back, and I've got at least another 60 days in me probably right now.
How long are they? Just real short, 1-2 minute?
I mean, some of them are 3 paragraphs. Like, you might not even have to scroll if you read it on an iPhone. They're quick.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
That's cool. Is there any final things or anything that you think that we're missing that somebody should know about you and working with you and your business, or any tips you want to give?
Not really anything about me. I think there's enough on the internet to find out about me, or you can join one of my lists and find that out. But I think what I want to leave anybody with is, are you living the life you're meant to live? And if you're not, why? Is it because you're so far down a path? Is it because you don't know how to get out of it? Is it because you don't think you're worthy of it? This commitment, it takes an unbelievable amount of like looking inward and self-growth, but it is so damn worth it. It is so worth it. And that's what I want to leave you with.
That's awesome. So let me ask you just some real quick questions, real short questions. So if you could do it all over again, right, as soon as you got out of the NFL, because that's a dream job, right? What would you do differently right when you got out?
I have a really hard time looking back because I think it's unfolded the way it's supposed to. I don't know that I'd change anything. It's been awesome. I've had ups and downs. I've had painful experiences. I've had a lot of setbacks. I've had a lot of big wins. But they all put me here. So I'm good with it.
That is so awesome. Well, it was a pleasure, Nick. We're going to put this stuff in show notes, and you're welcome back anytime. Whenever you get that course launched, we'll bring you back on, maybe for a little bit longer interview. But I know your time's valuable, and so I really appreciate you coming on the Q&A show.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Oh, no, it was our pleasure, and thank you so much. And we'll reach back out, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. See you.
Thank you. So everybody, that was Nick Murphy there, and we appreciate it. Have a good one, Nick.
You too.
So tonight's show, everyone, was brought to you by Success Rocket Marketing. If you do need some help with your local business and you want to grow it, go to www.successrocketmarketing.com, and they'll be able to help you out. Until next time, everybody, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Q&A show. Have a good night. Bye-bye.